I was born in 1949 in Detroit, Michigan, and I am the oldest of six children. When I was a child, a young child, my father bought a home in Bloomfield Hills, which is a suburb of Detroit. And I believe that we were probably one of the first houses in the neighborhood. So I spent much of my childhood playing in new houses and fishing for frogs in the creek. My memories of my mother are of her packing lunches for her six children and doing laundry and cleaning the house. And I never felt tremendous warmth from my mom. I felt that she was treating each of her six children equally. My father was in the Navy, and I was very close to my father. He influenced me in a lot of ways. One of them, I think, coming from the Depression era, uh, is he would save every single plastic bag and rubber band, and I'm afraid I have some of those tendencies. My parents were strict Catholic, and my education as a child was in a Catholic elementary school, St. Hugo's of the Hills, a Catholic middle school and high school, and I actually went to a Catholic college in Grand Rapids for 2 years. My dad worked for a company called Young and Rubicon, which is an advertising agency in Detroit. It was very important to my parents that I have a firm foundation in the Catholic Church. And after going to Marian High School, I went to a Catholic college, Aquinas College in Grand Rapids, for 2 years. And I really didn't have an idea about where I wanted to go with my career, and didn't have any idea about going into the art field at that time. I feel like I was in the clutches of Catholicism until I left Aquinas College. In my junior year, I went to the University of Michigan, and everything sort of took a turn. But that's where I really began my art education. And I took classes in painting and drawing and design. And I graduated from the University of Michigan with a Bachelor of Fine Art, a major in painting, and a minor in design. At the time, I thought that I would graduate and go into teaching college students, but I also felt that I really wasn't good enough. And because of that, I continued my education at U of M and got a K through 12 teaching certificate. From there, I went to Wayne State University, and I got a master's in art education. I did my master's thesis actually on composition and photography. I had some amazing teachers at Wayne State, and just became so enthusiastic about teaching children. So it was a good move.
I don't need to Dremel the pot. So I'm deciding to do it this way rather than the way I thought originally, because this creates a larger surface for this.
After 10 years of marriage and an impending divorce, I had to move from the small independent school I taught at to the public school. the public schools in Troy. So I applied for a job there. And they provided lots of things that the independent school did not provide. However, I went from teaching 18 children in a classroom to teaching 28. And I went from a very small school to seeing 600 children a week in 2 different buildings. The Troy School District offered an early retirement. I just really wanted to get out of Michigan. I wanted to go someplace where it was warmer, where the winters weren't quite as severe, and mostly I longed for the sun. I got in my car and I took a road trip. A friend of mine said, if you're going to Arizona, you have to go to this little town called Yarnell. And so I did. I looked around and I instantly fell in love with Yarnell. So my next vacation that I had, I saw a realtor and she took me around and showed me a lot of different houses. And the one house that captured my heart was a house built around the boulders. And there were boulders under the kitchen table and a big boulder in the shower and boulders in the living room. And I had to have that house. I loved my time in the Yarnell because I feel very much that that was when, instead of teaching art, I became an artist. And I transformed my whole front yard into a big mosaic. I mosaicked the whole front of my house and created big mosaics on the side of the house, and I really grew into an artist rather than a teacher. The children have been my greatest influence in my expression of art. And here's what I had to say in my artist statement. My many years of teaching art to children have turned me on to the possibility of creating beauty from everyday discards. Their uninhibited, get-down-to-it approach has been my inspiration. I am motivated by the smile and pride written on the face of a child after creating a masterpiece. The young ones still delight in the magic of mixing blue and yellow to get green. The children have been my teachers, and I their teachers throughout the years. My work is an invitation to the viewer to play with me, and if only for a second, to feel the sense and wonder and joy of a child. So all of these pieces were acquired during one of my shopping trips at Goodwill. And when I go shopping, I look for unusual pieces, pieces that may have a pattern on them, pieces that are brightly colored. And I'm also looking at the shape of the pieces. If it has an interesting shape, or if it has an interesting texture. This one has a beautiful texture on it. And then I lay my pieces out and I look at them for a while and try to put colors together that work, that might, this green may pick up a green that's in there. I'm not sure I like this green with this green. And I just play with things until I can figure out what I think works the best together. I'm about to construct a tower for you, or parts of a tower, and show you the process that I go through when I'm doing this. I'd like to glue this bowl and then this teapot and show you how that works. So now I need to grind where these two pieces are going to connect. And I'm using a product called clear silicone 2, made for outdoor construction. Got it in a caulking tube, and I'm going to use the caulking gun, and I'm going to go around my edge, and I'm going to lay this on here. So I'm going to put this teapot on this bowl now, and this bowl, the foot of this bowl does not have glaze on it, so I don't need to grind that, but I do need to grind the base of the teapot because it's very slippery. And then I have to make another aesthetic decision here because I have a handle and a spout, and so I kind of like this. And I will take my caulk, voila. In 1990, I saw a notice on a bulletin board for an earth renewal ceremony. It was hosted by Bill and Judy Wahlberg. Adam Fortunate Eagle was the speaker. We did lots of ceremony and drumming and honoring of the earth. And at the time, I found out about community. I joined the community, and I have to say that was probably 4 years of the greatest adventure in my life. We would get together every month for the whole weekend, and we would spend that weekend at their home. I just have such tremendous memories of that experience and the growth that I personally made during that time. So in 1994, Bill and Judy left and they moved to Boulder, Colorado. They moved their focus to the study of Gurdjieff and the work. That pretty much is what the group has been doing for the last 4 years, and that's where I was introduced to Cebud. Bill and Judy encouraged us to join the Boulder Cebud group. This is a far cry from Catholicism, and I absolutely love the Latihan and the practice of the Latihan. The Latihan and the practice of the Latihan has helped me to focus and to trust on my inner knowing and to move from that place. The pieces that I do, they come from another place. I am not in my head, and in the Latihan it's the same way. There's an emptiness there, a void where things can be created. I think the Latihan has really helped me to feel what it means to be present. The whole art experience in teaching art to adults and empowering them by giving them new skills, in some ways I'm transmitting that to my students, that sense of being in presence.